What is up? Welcome back to another video. Today we're doing a Q&A. The questions have been sourced through Instagram. Intro starting off here, but we're gonna go to the city. We're gonna go answer some questions in the city, and then we're gonna come back here for the outro and the final questions. Hope you guys enjoy it. Let's answer some Q's and give you some A's. To the city! Yo, we got some special guests for this question. Rob.ip, and we got Sean, East Coast Emulsion. They're gonna help me answer this question because who wants to hear from only me? Do you ever have to take breaks from photos to make it exciting again? / when you're in a rut, and if so, how do you get out of breaks and ruts?
Shit, if I knew that, I'd look at my pictures all the time.
Yeah, so Rob doesn't look at any of his photos. He's just in it for the taking. He's not in it for like the editing or looking at or reviewing.
For me, I don't take breaks. If I find myself in a rut, I just shoot more.
Yeah.
To be honest, I just brute force my way through it and shoot more, and hopefully something good comes out of that.
That's how I feel. I feel like I usually don't take breaks. If I'm feeling down, like I feel like I'm not taking good photos, I just keep taking photos until something happens. Something's gonna hit eventually, maybe, hopefully. So, you don't take breaks either.
Yeah, I don't take breaks.
Yeah.
I just don't look at my pictures. I just keep shooting. It's just like if I get something good, I'll see that shit in 2 years.
Do you ever feel like you're in a rut?
I feel like I've been in a rut for the last 2 years.
And you're still shooting?
Fuck it.
Yeah.
You gotta
I
keep
do
your
know.
shit going.
I do know people that do take like long breaks or short breaks from taking photos. So it does vary.
I'll say this.
I probably should, to be honest.
I think a week is good. If you shoot all the time, I think like taking a week off can be good because then you come back and then you see this shit in like a whole new light.
Yeah. Or sometimes what I used to do pre-pandemic, instead of taking breaks, I would just go on vacation. And then I would shoot there. And then when you come back, your eyes are refreshed and it's all kind of new again. So it's all just different ways to do the same thing.
For me, half the fun of the shooting is just being out on the streets and actually taking the photos. Getting the good shots is only half it for me. I thoroughly just like being out here,
Yeah.
walking the streets, people watching. So,
Yeah, it's like people watching, except you're taking pictures. Next question. Do you have any shots that you've missed that you still think about?
I have
Oh
a
my
bad
God, so
memory,
many.
but yeah, there's a handful.
Can you describe one?
Yeah, I think I was telling you about one. When I was walking in downtown LA, I was walking back to my car after shooting like fucking 12 hours. It was like 9 p.m. I'm walking past City Hall, and City Hall is like this like crazy like nice architectural fucking building. And as I'm walking by, keep in mind it's fucking nighttime, I'm fucking walking by and there's like 4 or 5 fucking cops just like smoking cigars. And that the way that shit was lit was like something out of like a fucking film noir movie.
Yeah.
And I remember I was gonna go take the picture and then they all stared at me and for some reason I got fucking scared because they're cops. And I'm just like, it's not worth it. And I just fucking left. And I still think about that shit to this day.
All with cigars?
All with cigars.
Dang.
Like it looked like the way that they were standing, like just imagine Goodfellas, like a Goodfellas fucking poster, but just imagine that they're standing around smoking cigars. Like they look like fucking characters.
Yeah. What about you, Sean?
for me, it was a subway shot. I was transferring from the 2 to the 1 at 96th Street, and there was a guy smoking a blunt between the cars. And I saw him before I got off the train, so I got my camera ready. But when I got out and go to take the photo, he looks at me and he started to ask me to take the shot. And I didn't have time to get my flash on the camera. So I just went wide open, went down to like a 30th, and just took the shot. The area he was in was just too dark. And then with the very warm lighting in the subway, it just was like double fucked.
Yeah.
So it was just unrecoverable, but he had a fat blunt in his mouth, both middle fingers up, and just a huge cloud of smoke like obscuring his face.
Dang.
Right between the two subway cars.
In between the subways.
So yeah, that one haunts me still. Sometimes
Damn.
I go back and look at it and just get depressed because how fucked it is.
Even if you convert it to black and white, it doesn't look good?
I probably could do that. I just am a color guy.
I don't know. I feel like nothing really haunts me, but I do think of like two shots. One, like when I first started photography, not even street photography, just photography. I was in Seattle and we were visiting, and it started pouring as it does in Seattle. And me and my wife ran into a coffee shop. Once we left that coffee shop, it was still pouring, but it was dark as fuck in the middle of the day. And this person
starts sprinting across this random road, the only person there, and like does a fucking full-on ballerina leap and has a hot pink fucking umbrella. Like this, like the biggest leap I've ever seen. And I was like, damn, that would have been a good photo. But at the time, I didn't have like a weatherproof camera, so it would have fucked everything up. So Plus I would have missed a shot anyways, because like the autofocus on the camera sucks. So I just keep telling myself it wouldn't have worked. The other one was like probably like 2 years ago. It was over on 34th Street. It was a hot day. It was like 90-something degrees, and this dude had a fucking sweat pattern on his back that looked like the Empire State Building. And he rode his bike right by the Empire State Building, but it was across the street, and there was cars just like zooming by, so I couldn't get to it. And he was on a bike, so I wasn't gonna outrun him. So there's no way I was gonna get it, but that would have been a decent photo, I think. What's your craziest street photography confrontation? For me, I'll answer first because mine's not crazy. I feel like I've been lucky enough to not have like crazy confrontations. I took a photo of like these 3 people one time, and one of the guys got really mad and started like flicking me off, calling me a bullshit artist or whatever. When he started flicking me off, I took a picture of him flicking me off because that's a good photo. And then he got pissed at that, and then he kind of like bull rushed me, but he didn't really like punch me or anything. He kind of just ran into me, and so I basically called his bluff, and then he kind of like kept cursing at me, and then like threatening to punch me, but actually not punching me, and then kind of just walked away, and I was just laughing at him the entire time. So, I mean, nothing crazy, right? But I feel like these guys might have something better. Sean?
I got kicked recently on 34th Street. Someone was getting in the leg. Honestly, it wasn't. It was like right on my knee too, so it could have done some serious damage. But I saw someone getting arrested. They were sitting on the ground, and there was like 4 or 5 cops behind them. So they had their hands behind their back in cuffs, and they did the classic lift them up by like the armpits. So right as I was walking by, I had my camera like right here, just took the shot, and the person did not like that and immediately kicked me in the leg and screamed some obscenities at me.
Bro, so they kicked you while they were getting arrested?
Yeah, so I guess, maybe
you
they tacked on an assault charge.
Yeah, you would think priorities. They're like, I need to get out of the arrest first before I worry about someone taking my picture. But
yeah, I just kept it moving. I was like, whatever. I mean, I should have figured something was going to happen.
Yeah.
Shooting in LA, someone was swinging at me pretty much every week. There was a guy who was dressed, he had like some fucking kind of Batman mask on. I took a picture like this close, and he swung at me. There was some Korean lady who I pinky promised because she was like fucking yelling at me and shit, and I was just like, I pinky promise I'll delete this shit. And she was like, pinky promised me, and fucking walked away. I got in a fight with a crackhead on a moving train here for staring too long, and I guess yeah, I mean, other than that, nothing crazy.
Did you win that fight?
No. I'm gonna be straight up. I did not win that fight. I lost on a technicality.
Okay.
We'll just put that. Well, I got TKO'd. Some guy tried to rob me in downtown LA. I don't know what the fuck he had, but he had like.
For taking photos or just in general?
Well, like I took a photo of him.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, fool, give me your camera. And like he had like something in his hands. I looked at him and there was cops right there. I just laughed and I just fucking walked away. But yeah, other than getting swung at, not really.
Okay. Yeah, see, I feel like don't be scared to take pictures. Like, you might get yelled at, you might get kicked in the leg a little bit, but no one's gonna knock you out, I think. But like, don't quote me on that. I'm not liable for any of that, for what I just said. If you get knocked out, that's your fault.
I'll put it like this: if you can't beat them or you can't outrun them, just don't take their picture.
Yeah.
Next question. Real quick, most overhyped New York City street photographer. Most overhyped New York City street photographer. Rob.
Everybody here.
Paulie B.
How long do you see yourself in New York? I mean, at this point, I really can't see myself leaving, to be honest, so I'm gonna do whatever I can to stay here. How many miles do you typically walk on a shoot? Anywhere from like 9 to 12. I think that changes with winter and summer. Summertime, I walk like 10 miles a day, maybe 12 miles a day, depending on like how active I feel. But I am getting older, so those long days, I feel it the next day. But in the wintertime, there's not much going on, so it's like 7, 8 miles a day, and then like I usually like leave the city or end to shoot like at 3 or 4 p.m. because it gets dark and there's honestly not much going on.
Especially this past winter, it was fucking dead and boring. So, you know, it depends on the time of year. This time of year, it's June. I walk a lot, like at least 10 miles a day, which, you know, takes its toll, but it's fun. Do you prefer walking or staying in one spot? I've got a couple questions that are similar to this. Do you prefer walking or like staying on one corner? Do you prefer staying on one corner? Hunting versus fishing? It all depends, man. I think I like to set up my days like and set up checkpoints throughout the city to where I know some intersections will be busy. Like this intersection right now, 42nd and 5th, it's busy. So I'll stay here for a little bit, let people come to me, and then whenever I feel like I've done that enough, I'll leave, and then I'll go walk up 5th Avenue or walk over to another avenue. Yeah, it all depends, right? Depends on how much I feel. Like along these checkpoints, I'll typically spend like 5 minutes to like an hour and a half, depending on how good I feel. But if I'm taking pictures, I'll stay. Would you use medium format for street photography? I have, and I've failed at it so much, and I've wasted so much money trying to make it work. I have that Fuji 6x9, and it's kind of slow and clunky. And when you miss with that, it's expensive because there's only 8 shots to a roll. So I kind of just gave up on it, to be honest. And when you miss the focus, because it's medium format, you really notice that you miss the focus. Whereas with like a 35mm frame, like you can miss focus and it'll still look all right. But with medium format, you don't really get that luxury. So I have done it. I'll probably do it again at some point. It's not something I'm gonna lean on. How is the rising cost of film and dev prices affecting your work? It's not. It's just not. I feel like the moment that starts to seed into my mind while taking photos is the moment I start to switch to digital photography. If that's like, if you're out here and there's a photo that might happen and you're taking a photo and you're like, oh shit, should I take this photo because the cost of film is too high? Then just fucking shoot digital. Like this guy, this is digital. Like that thought should never enter my mind when I'm like out here shooting. And if it does, then that sucks. All right, so this question is, what inspires you every day to get out and shoot? I would say that I have a very right brain and left brain response to this, right? From the right side, which is, I think, the more creative, whatever side of the brain. It's just that I kind of love doing it, you know? It's just what I like doing. It kind of feeds my soul. When I was younger, I came across these videos of like music producers in the studio making music, and like you can see kind of like the passion come through in those videos. I feel like that's something I've been kind of searching for. I feel like that's kind of how I feel when I'm out here taking photos. When people are in the studio or whatever, that's kind of how I feel. Chase that feeling. Chase that feeling of like of fucking people in the studio making beats and shit. Because you gotta love it, right? Especially do it every day. My left brain response to this is it's simply just like a numbers game, right? It's a numbers game. You know, if I'm out here 2 hours a day, you know, I maybe take a couple of shots here and there, and knowing how many photos it takes for me to have a photo I like, it's not gonna get it done, right? So if I'm out here, you know, 6-8 hours a day, 5-6 days a week, I have a better chance at accomplishing my goals in the number of good photos that I want to take in a year. So it's just a numbers game, and that's really like why I'm out here every day shooting. Is, you know, it's a numbers game, and I just fucking love it. So that's it. Next question. So there's a lot of questions here. That's like, how do you get comfortable taking shots up close? How do you build confidence in street photography?
Fear.
It's really just doing it, right?
Yeah.
Take a trip to the Nike store, read the advertisement.
Yeah, like just do it. All you have to do is how you get confident in doing anything. You just got to do it. How do you get confident in shooting 3-pointers? You got to keep doing it. And the more you do it, the more you get confident. That's it. There's no secret sauce there. You gotta come out here, take a risk, get close to somebody and take a photo, and then see how they react to it, adjust as necessary, and then kind of just do it again. A similar question that I got was, what are your techniques for, you know, taking photos of people or whatever, you know, candidly? An easy way to do it for me is the pretend like you're taking a photo of something else technique, where you, and then as you take it and they walk by, you just keep holding it.
I'm checking my light meter.
Yeah, you just hold it. Just do this, and then just hold it. And that's it. And then they walk by, they look at you like you're a weirdo because you're taking a photo of like something behind them, and there's nothing behind them, but you've already got the shot, so who gives a shit what they think?
Well, most of the time they turn around and they just like, oh, what did you just take a picture of?
Yeah, so that's an easy one that you can use that will work like 95% of the time. Oh, here we go. This is a good one for both of you. What doesn't anyone tell you about street photography in New York?
It's not that interesting.
Wait, say it again?
It's not that interesting. The city is not that interesting. It's just people walking. There isn't anything. If you haven't shot here and you shoot here, you're overhyping it in your head.
I think the fact that there is a lot of people makes it harder to kind of stand out and make unique photos. And there's a lot of people in two different ways. There's a lot of like just pedestrians and people walking from point A to point B. There's also a lot of street photographers making similar images. So it's hard to like make different types of photos, and it's harder to make different photos from everybody else. So, but
nobody's real. Like it's just a bunch of tourists or a bunch of people working. Like there's no real life isn't happening. I feel like
it's just a bunch of NPCs.
Yeah.
Guys, Scotty X song.
Do you wish you were shooting in a city with fewer street photographers?
No, definitely not, because I feel like the community here is pretty dope, so definitely not. And if there were a few photographers, I feel like there's less community. So.
Yeah, I think people see a lot of street photographers, and like because there's a lot of street photographers, everybody's taking the same picture. But I think people don't think about the aspect that you just talked about, is because there's so many more street photographers, there's a bigger community, and like you run into people like this. Like, I just ran into this guy. I didn't like text him. I wasn't like, yo, meet me here. Right. Just ran into him. And then you just build friends and community like that. So do I wish I lived in a city with fewer street photographers? No. I love it. I love running into people that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. What made you suddenly decide to start shooting film? And do you ever see yourself going back to digital?
Well, it started in 2018 when I was shooting a lot of digital with my Nikon DSLR. And I was like, look at all these YouTube channels, especially you. I'm like, you know what, this is different. I like photography, so let me experiment. And ever since then, I just fell in love with it. And here I am. That's all I really shoot pretty much 98% of the time.
Do you see yourself going back to digital?
No, despite the film prices, I think it's still worth it because it's my investment. I make money for a living, so yeah, like that's what I really go towards. I don't spend money on drugs or alcohol.
Yeah, true.
I mean, alcohol I do, but you know.
Yeah. For me, what made me suddenly, I honestly had no plans of shooting film. I was shooting like a DSLR with street for a long time, and then my homie Dustin let me borrow actually this camera for like 3 weeks straight, and that was my first time like shooting film in the streets, other than like a disposable here and there, but like committing to it, and I was hooked. Like Scotty was saying, I was hooked. I found it more fun and more enjoyable, and ultimately that's what I'm out here for, to enjoy myself. So do I see myself going back? Only if film is like $30 a roll or some shit. Something ridiculous, but as of right now,
I think I'd still pay $30 a roll.
Yeah,
I think I would.
Dude, that's a lot.
40 is cutting it.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, like I'll buy it, but of course there'll be much less volume.
Yeah,
for sure. But.
Yeah, unless the film prices get outrageous, then I don't see myself going back. But who knows? We'll see in like 10 years. Maybe I'm lying. Time will tell.
Okay. Last two questions, and then we're closing the video out. What is your favorite photograph of all time that you didn't take? There's a couple of these that were submitted. My favorite photograph of all time actually isn't even like a street photograph or like a fine art picture or like a portrait or anything like that. It's actually, there's this photograph that was taken by the Hubble telescope a couple of decades ago. Look it up, Google it, read what it's about. Essentially, they just pointed it at the darkest spot in the sky, like a small patch of it, and then kind of expose it for however long it took to get back an image. And in that image, there was like, the entire image was filled with galaxies. and each of those little galaxies is like billions and billions and billions of stars. I could be botching that, but like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comment, but it's just fascinating because it's one small patch, and then you multiply that by the entire sky, and that's how many galaxies there are. It's mind-blowing. It makes you realize how small we are, right? Like, we're tiny. Like, we're on this rock, and we're trying to make sense of pictures, and we're so tiny, and there's billions and billions of stars out there that probably have planets similar to this, that probably have life on it, and you're getting mad that your photo didn't get a lot of likes on Instagram. It doesn't matter. Nothing matters. Whatever we do doesn't matter. My photos don't matter. Like, it all doesn't matter. We're on this planet for a short amount of time. You only have that much amount of time to make an impact. And some people don't realize that their moment has passed until it's too late. And right now, it's my moment and my time. And I'm gonna celebrate and pop champagne because I'm at the Grammys, baby. Name that reference. Last question. Do you see street photography getting better or worse in the future? I think this is very subjective, right? Like, 'cause better and worse are subjective terms. I think that I might have to put some visuals up on the screen, but I think if you have a distribution of photographs, of all street photographs taken this year, you'll probably see that it skews to like if the x-axis is like rating a photograph, right, 1 to 10, you'll probably see that most of the photographs are in like the 1 to 8 range, like you know, bad to mediocre, and then very few or long tail are in like the 8 to 10 range, right? So like right now, that's probably how it looks. Probably skews to the left, which means most photos are bad, but there's still a lot of good photos in the long tail. If you look at that same graph or distribution 10 years from now, I imagine the left side is going to get higher. A lot of bad pictures still being made, but the long tail might be higher. So you can argue that even though the ratio is worse of bad photographs to good photographs, as long as the number of good photographs is higher than it is now, then maybe it's better. Who knows? You know, and that's just one definition of better or worse. You know, who knows what that means? For me, maybe I'm an optimist. Maybe I just see things getting better. Things are definitely gonna evolve. How? I guess we'll never know. That's it for this video. If you guys want to participate in the next Q&A, follow me on Instagram, because that's where I source my questions. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Now when they see us in the streets,